Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today we have another manga reading log. I feel bad because it's been quite a while since I've uploaded. I've been quite busy with my life. I'm actually graduating college this semester, so shout out to me, yay. But yes, I'm going to be doing like a two-parter for my manga reading log for the past few months since I've been away. So yeah, this video is going to be focused on my physical reads, and then the next one will be more of my digital reads, but I might include some physical reads that take place between now and the next recording session. So yes, I hope you guys enjoy and stay tuned for lots of fun reads. For the first section of reads that we're going to talk about, I'm going to call this like the rapid fire section, which is going to be like 1 to 2 volumes that I've read of series that I have talked about before, so we won't dwell too much on them. So the first of my rapid fire reads will be A Sign of Affection Volume 5, which is the most recent physical volume of A Sign of Affection, and this one has been really good. They're introducing like the childhood friend as kind of like a love conflict of sorts. I think they're trying to create a love triangle with him and obviously her and her boyfriend, but I don't think that she will falter in any way. I feel like the main couple will survive the love triangle, but I don't mind him right now. I know a lot of people on Twitter complain about the childhood friend guy, but he seems okay to me for now, but we'll see. I know volume 6 is slated to release in like May, which is a really long time from now, so I'll likely have to reread all of this once I get that volume 6. But yeah, I love the series and I'm super happy to keep picking them up as they come. I'm very interested to see how long it ends up being as well. So yeah. Okay, so our next series of the rapid fire section is volumes 21 and 22 of Dr. Stone. Volume 23 is out. I just haven't got it. I know I ordered it. I just don't know what I ordered it with. So when it comes, I haven't decided if I'm going to just wait until the end of Dr. Stone to like read from 23 to 26 or if I'm going to read them as they come out. But with the way that this volume 22 ended, I feel like I could wait. But anyways, yeah, these were excellent. Especially volume 22 was super excellent. It ends off on such a fresh note, and like these like 2 volumes in particular have been building up to something that has been really intense. Like Dr. Stone is not something I come to for like high stakes, like super intense, suspenseful content, but these 2 volumes have been crazy, and the way that this one ends was really emotional, and I definitely cried. I really care a lot about these characters. I feel like Dr. Stone has a premise in which you don't think you'll care about the characters as much as you end up actually caring, you know? And as you can see on the cover, my girl Suika is on the cover, so you know that she gets kind of like a more prominent role in this volume, and I love that for her. She's definitely one of my favorite characters, probably like top 3 to top 5. Somebody I don't really talk about very much, but super excited to see her doing her thing. So yeah, I really recommend Dr. Stone. I feel like it's one of the more low-key shonen jump series out there, which is really disappointing because I feel like it's one of the best ones. Like objectively one of the best, like longer running battle trope type of story from Shonen Jump. So yeah. I also want to kind of talk about the anime which came out, like the Ryusui special that came out in July, because I haven't had a chance to talk about it on the channel yet. I thought it was excellent. It is the first piece of Dr. Stone anime that like I had already read the manga for, because I started reading after season 2. So I was really excited for the special to kind of be able to compare and contrast. And I really do think the anime adaptation is very like to the point. Like it keeps all of the important details from the manga, and like the characters have been brought to life in such a colorful way, and the voice acting is excellent. I just really love Dr. Stone, and I'm super excited for season 3 as well, because that's my favorite arc of Dr. Stone, the Treasure Island arc. So yeah, definitely anticipating the very sad but hopefully very fruitful end of Dr. Stone that will probably come out within a year, I think, if it keeps up with the printing schedule. So the last single volume that I'm going to be discussing today is actually a new volume. I kind of lied when I said it was going to be whatever. Anyways, so it is Lovesick Ellie, volume 1. Another shoujo romance. I love my shoujo romances, but this one I was on the fence about. I didn't really like the concept. So basically, the story is that the girl is more like a quiet, reserved girl at school, but she has this like burner Twitter account where she tweets like all these really vivid fantasies about her crushes, and she uses like the username Lovesick Ellie. And the boy that she's been really crushing on, she basically discovers that he's not what she thought he was. Like, he's kind of an asshole. And then he discovers her Twitter account, and like he sees that she tweets about him, but he's still interested in her. And I was like, whoa, like that's kind of crazy. Like, if that were me, I would be disgusted. But it's like, if you can suspend that part of like your brain, it's pretty entertaining, especially because like I'm a Twitter user. Specifically, like, I'm a K-pop stan, so I'd be on K-pop Twitter, and some people be tweeting really out-of-pocket things about these K-pop idols, so I feel like I can kind of relate to her in that way, except I don't tweet like that, but I can relate in theory, and she also makes me, like, get a lot of secondhand embarrassment, just like the people on Twitter do, so, yeah, it's kind of fun in that regard, and I do think she's gonna have really good character development. This first volume was actually really good. Not only for their relationship, but also she makes a friend, and I really liked that arc of it too, because I feel like sometimes shoujo romances just focus on the couple and not like the people around them. They don't even have to, like, there doesn't have to be a secondary couple, but like just their friends. I like to see things like that, so I liked this volume for that. And I did, after I read this one, I decided to order a couple more. I think I ordered either 3 or 4 more, so I'm highly anticipating those, and I'm super excited to see where this goes. I don't think that this is something that's super groundbreaking or special, but I do really like it, and if you are a stan Twitter user, I think you'll like this, because, like, you can kind of relate in some ways to her crazy antics. So yeah, that's Lovesick Ellie. So the first more, like, long-term series that I read is actually Soul Eater, which is a personal favorite of mine. I do love Soul Eater. I have spoke about it on the channel, but basically the story behind it is that when I decided to get back into like collecting and reading manga, I did a small purge of my collection of things that I didn't really enjoy, and Soul Eater was on the chopping block, but then I read like the first volume of the single, and I was like, actually, I love Soul Eater. So then I ended up selling my singles, and I'm collecting the perfect editions, and I will be reading alongside the release of the perfect editions. Yeah, the release schedule is not awful. Like, I think I have it pre-ordered up to like 10 right now, and I think there's going to be 17 of them, which is kind of a lot considering it is a hardcover and it costs a lot of money, but that's not the point. We're not here to talk about the quality of the release itself. We're here to talk about the story, which I love the story. If you don't know the premise, basically, you know, there's this academy, and there are weapons, and there are meisters, which are like weapon users, and they form a partnership, and then they go to school, and they become great at being weapons and meisters, and it's great. And I love this. The world building in general is super cool, like the concept of the weapon and the meister, and, you know, becoming a death scythe, and Death himself. There's a large mystery surrounding Death himself, and it's super interesting to see the characters like uncover little details about like, oh, like because he has a very happy-go-lucky personality, but you're discovering all these details, and it's like, whoa, like what happened in the past with this guy? Like, he was our fun like headmaster. What's going on? That's super cool. The concept of like the weapon and meister lends itself to some really interesting character dynamics like between the two people. Like, for example, our main characters, Soul and Maka. Soul is the weapon and Maka is the weapon meister, and Maka's my favorite character of like the series, and probably one of my favorite like characters ever, just because I feel like I can relate to her a lot, and I always love like shonen females in general. So yeah, I really love Maka, and I think that their dynamic is super interesting, as well as another dynamic I really love is Blackstar and Tsubaki. I'm very interested. A lot of people say that Blackstar gets a lot of character development in like the later volumes that weren't adapted in the anime, so I'm super intrigued for that, because Blackstar, I can't lie, sometimes he annoys me. He's a little too high-strung for me sometimes, so I'm really interested to see maybe either he tones down or like there gets some crazy explanation for why he's so high-strung. Either way, I do really love all the characters, and a lot of them are very extra, so I do understand if people don't really like the characters because a lot of them are very dramatic. Yeah. At the end, I've read to like shortly after the like anniversary party arc, which is like one of my favorite parts of the series. Like I love the battle between Maka and Krona. It might be one of my favorite like battles ever in all of anime and manga. I just really love when Maka does the thing. If you know, you know. When she does the thing, I'm like, yes, exactly. I am curious to know if anyone else is reading Soul Eater with the perfect editions. This is my first time like reading Soul Eater in its entirety. I've watched the anime like a million times. Like I'm actually rewatching the anime right now. I watch it a lot. I really like the dub. I don't know. The voices give like, because I watched it as a kid, the voices are like what I associate Soul Eater with, so I like the dub for that reason. Yeah. The next in progress series is the Pokemon Adventures manga. I finally decided to start tackling this very, very lengthy manga series. A small backstory, since this might be not very obvious by my content or anything on my channel, but Pokemon's actually like one of my favorite things ever. I played the game since like Fire Red Leaf Green / like Emerald, so, and I've been keeping up since then. I will say that I do fall off and fall back on every once in a while, but I'd say right now I'm really into it. I'm super excited for Scarlet and Violet. I'm gonna buy them on release, and it's gonna be great, but that's not the point. Pokemon's very special to me, and as I started collecting manga, I really wanted to collect these, and when I found out there was collector's editions, I jumped right on it. So I do have all of them. I bought them preemptively because anything Pokemon does, I support. I don't care if they release the same game every single time for the past 15 years. I will eat it up every single time. I don't care. So, yes. I was a bit nervous to kind of start tackling this because, like, I opened this when I first got it, and I was like, whoa, why is there 40 chapters in this one thing? That's really intense. But the chapters are quite short, and like this covers like a whole arc, which I would consider like the red, blue, green arc, which follows the first games pretty closely with, you know, red and blue following the gym challenge. And there's a third character named Green, who is probably my favorite character. Like I said, I love a good shonen female character, so I really like her. She's kind of a girl boss. I think that this arc is really strong in that like it takes a lot of the elements from the game but also twists them and kind of puts like a dark twist on the Pokemon universe, especially considering like a lot of the gym leaders are actually members of Team Rocket, which is like the evil organization in Kanto. So that was cool, and I just have a lot of nostalgia for Kanto considering it's like where the game started, and like it's one of the first regions I visited because I played Fire Red and Leaf Green as a kid. So yeah, I really enjoy this. I do kind of go back and forth on whether like I think this is good because I like Pokemon, or if I think it's, yeah, like would this stand alone? If somebody who didn't know anything about Pokemon read this, would they think it's good? Like I don't know if the characterization of the gym leaders really comes through for somebody who like doesn't know the gym leaders, because like I said, I followed everything for Pokemon, so I've seen the anime, played the games, and now I'm reading the manga, so I know how the gym leaders are. Like I know their personalities, so I'm wondering if the personalities really shine through this, or if I'm just like putting my other information I have on them into like my analysis of this, if that makes sense. I do think that the main three, like red, blue, and green, they do have good developments because there's not really good equivalents to them in the anime, and in the games you're a silent protagonist anyways. I will say that this is probably the best like adaptation of the Pokemon universe. Like I think if somebody was interested in learning more about Pokemon, I would recommend the manga over the anime, simply because like Ash is kind of insufferable, especially in the first, like in the Indigo League, because I recently watched that and he was really making my head hurt. Like he'd just be talking and I'm like, dude, like do you ever just stop talking? No? Okay. But Red is a little less insufferable. Also, like, I don't have to hear his voice. That's definitely another thing. And I think Blue is less insufferable than Gary as well. Yeah. if you're interested in Pokemon, I would recommend this, but don't expect it to be like top 10 characterization, top 10. No, actually, it is top 10 world building. Everything else, though, I don't know. Yeah, Pokemon Adventures. I low-key just realized you could see my Pokemon, my Pokemon DVD collection right here, and some of my Pokemon DS games. So I didn't have to explain myself when I said that I love everything they do. The next series we will be discussing is my new favorite thing in the world, Spy Family. Spy Family fandom, I am here. I was always a part of you, but like I am actually an avid member of the Spy Family community now. I did watch the anime. I was always interested in reading the manga, but like the anime was coming out, so I was like, let me just watch the anime and then I'll decide from there. And then within the first like 5 episodes of it airing, I ended up buying everything, but I hadn't read it until now, simply because like I kind of wanted the anime to settle with me, and I wanted to like have a more fresh take on the first few volumes. So I have read up to volume 6. Sans this one chapter, which I'll read right after I finish filming. But yeah, so I've read up to season 1. I feel like I've read up to about where they're gonna end season 2, or like second part of season 1, simply because the first season was the first 3 volumes, and this one's the next 3 volumes that I've read. But yeah, it's actually really amazing. I love it so much. I feel like there's so many different like fans of things that you can appeal to with this series. Like obviously it has the comedy elements, it has like action elements, it has slice of life elements, it's super wholesome. You even get a little romance when Lloyd and Yor like be looking at each other. I'm waiting for their development. Like I'm not gonna be mad if there's not any development, but at the same time, if they get it, like I'm so excited. Especially like people draw like fan art of Lloyd and Yor in super like coupley ways, like as if they get it on in the bedroom, when they are afraid to touch each other's hands. Like how did we get from A to Z in that way? I don't know, but yeah, I actually think it's like a perfect series. When I say that something's perfect, I do acknowledge critiques of things, and like there are some series where I acknowledge the critiques and agree with the critiques, and this is a series where I do acknowledge the critiques but I don't agree with the critiques. One of the biggest ones I see is that like the series can't take itself seriously ever. Like whenever the stakes rise, or like if something gets semi-serious, it always ends up toning itself down, which I do see. However, I feel like it's gonna start taking itself seriously soon, because I do know, I saw the volume cover for volume 10, which actually shows like Lloyd when he was a kid, and one of the details of it is that, you know, like everyone else sits in these like fancy chairs, which I think are like specifically chosen, like actually like designer expensive chairs that each of the like characters have. However, Lloyd is the only character when he's a baby that sits in like a pile of rubble. So I think in that volume, like he's gonna get some crazy character development, and apparently it's gonna be emotional. So like I do think that as we go on with Spy Family, there will be elements of like true raw emotional or like dramatic things that happen, but I think for now it's trying to set the scene and be a little more lighthearted, and I think that's fine. I'm also really curious to see how it ends. Like I don't know, I'm very curious to see what Lloyd does at the end. That's all I'm gonna say about what I think about the end. Yeah, I don't know how, like, I feel like the series has this concept that can go on for a really long time, especially like there's a main mission, but there's obviously like little missions along the way, and I think if they like really capitalize on the small missions along the way, they can really make this last for a really long time. And I would really be happy to see it last for a long time, because the characters are just so good. Oh, I didn't say it. My favorite character is probably Yor, but I really like Lloyd as well. But like I obviously love Anya too, and I like the dog. I would say Yor's my favorite. I definitely want to do a cosplay of her. So yeah, that's Spy Family. I really enjoy it so far. I'm trying not to like, I have this habit of like deciding that things are like my favorite thing in the world very quickly. So I'm gonna reserve my comments on whether this is a top 10 series or not, but don't be surprised if it is. Don't be surprised if it ends up on the list. So that's Spy Family. So the one and only series that I've actually completed physically in this time is Boys Run the Riot, which is a short series, so I feel like I read more of like Soul Eater than I did of Boys Run the Riot, like by numbers. But this is Boys Run the Riot. I really enjoyed this. So basically we follow our main protagonist, which is named Ryo. He's a transgender boy, and he's trying to kind of like navigate life as a transgender boy in high school, and he meets a friend that decides to invite him to try to start a fashion brand. So this is them. This is the friend. His name's Jin. And they kind of are just a ragtag group of teens just trying to make it out in the fashion industry. They recruit a lot of like kind of isolated kids. Like they have a photographer friend, they have a non-binary friend, and Ryo actually like gets a part-time job and makes a couple friends there as well. And I just think that there's a lot of interesting things that take place in the series. I do wish it was a bit longer, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got cut, and that's why it was so short. Or like maybe because I know this is the mangaka's first piece of work, so I wouldn't be surprised if the author was like, actually I'm done, let's move on, because I know he actually got a series that's going to be serialized, I think, and I think it's a sports series. So I'm super excited for that. I'll definitely check it out if I ever come across it. But I think this was a really good like first series, you know, like as a first piece of media from this artist. So yeah. Again, a really nice detail of it is that it is technically a own voices work, because the mangaka is also like a transgender male. So I love hearing these stories from somebody who lived it, you know. So it makes the things that Ryo goes through feel more authentic. And one thing I really like about this series is that if you don't have anyone in your life that is a member of this community, I feel like reading this will definitely like open your eyes to a lot of the like little things that they go through and the little struggles. I don't want to say little, but like things that we as cis people like consider to be like small or like unimportant are things that they consider to be very important. And it's like just respecting them as individuals. I think that the story can really open the door for a lot of empathy, and there's a lot of things that I think a lot of people could appreciate. So if you are a human being with the ability to read, if you're literate in any language that has this series printed in, I recommend it to you. Boys Run the Riot. It is only 4 volumes. A lot of people have critiques on the ending because it's quite open-ended and they feel like things get resolved too quickly. But I actually don't think that anything really got resolved in the way that they think. I think everything's open-ended in a way that maybe like the author will revisit this world. I have hope. I'm hoping that they revisit the world someday, or maybe like include these characters in another piece of work. But I'm gonna be definitely following this artist on his endeavors in the manga industry. And again, if you're literate, like if you know how to read, yeah, I would recommend this. So that is the end of my manga reading log for my physical reads of the past few months. I hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for part 2. Part 2 is where I talk about Attack on Titan. I think that's like probably like the most popular series that I've read recently. So you guys should totally check out my discussion on it before the last season comes out. It'll be fun. But yeah, leave a like, comment down below of any series that you've been reading this month, and comment down below any of your opinions on the series that I talked about, because I'm super curious. There's a lot of things that I'd love to discuss with you guys, so always leave your comments and thoughts and opinions down below, and subscribe for more of me, and I'll see you next time.